Sleep with one eye open, gripping your Hey, everybody. Doing a little karaoke, a little Metallica. If you watched the third episode of Willow, you would understand why. We have a cover version of Enter Sandman leading into the credits and in the credits of the show. And I know there's been criticism about that, and I get that because you want to stay in that sort of fantastical world there where Metallica and modern rock or metal, let alone covers of those songs exist. But welcome everybody to my review of the third episode of Willow. First of all, thanks to everybody who's watching on our new channel. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel and hit notifications. We're getting real close to a big milestone. Like we had to start everything over, so we're climbing back up the hill. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so we're almost there. So please, if you don't mind, it's free. It takes 2 seconds. Just go bing right there. Ready? I'll give you 2 seconds to do it. Ready? Go. You did it. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Now on to my review of Willow, Chapter 3, Episode 3. This episode to me was sort of like, all right, we've introduced all the characters. You sort of know what everyone's path is going to be on the onset. We sort of understand who these people are and what makes them tick. Now it seems like this episode is beginning the next step of the journey, and especially for two characters in particular. And I'm looking at Jade and Kit. I'll start with Kit. So we saw that Kit noticed the bush or tree that Elora was able to conjure and create with her powers, which in essence confirmed to Kit that all of this was right. You know, her mother was right, Willow was right, that Elora is powerful. She is the one, the chosen one, a little Anakin-y, I guess, but that all of this bitterness that she had, while perhaps still justified, because, you know, any child of someone is going to feel bitter if attention and the need to protect was being put upon someone that wasn't their child. So I think we all can maybe understand where Kit's coming from there, but I think she is coming more to terms with what she has gone through and maybe not fully believing or understanding what this was all about and protecting this person. And then seeing that, she's like, oh, damn, they were right. And that's tough for a young person to admit. Because if anyone really, if you believe in something for such a long period of time and then you realize maybe you were wrong or maybe you change how you're thinking about something, there's a part of you that feels like, did I waste all of that time? So, and especially for a young person coming into their own and coming of age and stuff like that, it has to be tough. So we're seeing Kit get tested there. And what is she going to do with that information? You know, she can do a lot of things. She can get resentful or she can get on board and want to help as much as she can, knowing that Elora is very important. So I think this is a big episode for Kit. Also, there is some humor there with her and Borman. The were-rats. I think it's funny that they're just lazily and casually name these half werewolf, half rats or werewolf rat things were-rats. I think that's very Lucasfilm. I could see Phil Tippett and the Creature guys back in the late 1970s and early 1980s, maybe off the clock a little if you get my drift, just coming up with these names for things. And were-rat is as Lucasfilm, old school Lucasfilm as it gets. So I love that. And Borman, you know, onto him real quick. He's just funny. And you know, he's sort of the Mad Mardigan of this version of the series, until maybe we get a cameo later from Val Kilmer. I still doubt it, but maybe in the last episode. I think they're saving a lot for that last episode. But I like that he's sort of not breaking the fourth wall, but a little bit in saying like, all right, because maybe how the audience is thinking, like, can everyone just catch me up to where we are at this point? So I enjoyed that a bit. I like that tongue-in-cheek sort of humor, sort of meta, poking fun at itself type of situation that these shows and movies can present sometimes. But then, you know, on to the other person. Well, actually, you know what? I'll get to Elora. You know, it is that part of these types of stories, these fantasy stories, where this chosen one and this special person that we must protect. And it's not just in these fantasy stories. Like even thinking about this journey that they're on to realize the identity of Elora, which they have in the midst of this journey, but also knowing how important she is, and they need to protect her at all costs. That may come with casualties, loss of life, a lot of calamity, but knowing that it's for the greater good. And it makes me think of something like Saving Private Ryan, and those soldiers along that journey in that story, in that movie, were saying like, why this kid? I have a family too, and that sort of thing. And there's plenty of other examples. You could even say Star Wars with how they were doing everything they could to protect Anakin early on, and many others. But we have that here in Willow, and it's showing that she is important, but at what cost? And I think one sort of microcosm example of that is the brief introduction of the lumberjack ladies that we meet, which of course we have Hannah Waddingham, famously known as Rebecca from Ted Lasso, appears, and those two women seem ready, friendly, welcoming, and able to do whatever they can to help this person they just met, Elora, and unfortunately leads to their demise. And that's sort of like telling the audience, like, it doesn't matter if it's someone she just met, someone who really isn't that big of a threat, or someone who is. People who want to get to Elora will do whatever they have to and go through whoever they have to and kill whoever they have to get her. So we see that there. And then it becomes that question of, is she really that important? Like, how much loss of life is going to be necessary, or are we going to be willing to accept in order to see her fulfill this sort of prophecy or this destiny of vanquishing evil? So we'll see how far we get tested here. But then that other person I was talking about, so we had it all circling around Elora, of course, and we have Kit sort of in this crossroads. Which path is she going to take with this new information she has? Is she going to accept that maybe the past was not right, or how she felt was not right? And then we have Jade, who is wants to be this knight of nobility and wants to complete this journey of hers to be this great warrior. And how she finally makes, well, in my opinion, that's sort of like that next or final step is having to behead her mentor and commander, Ballantine, or Ballantine, however you want to pronounce it. Palpatine, right? Ballantine, we'll say. At his request, knowing that he was infected. Look what he had already done in trying to kill Elora and trying to kill others in his path, as he's sort of like demented and possessed or poisoned, however you want to say it. He knows that there's no turning back for him, and he said that she needs to do this. And it's sort of his final test or challenge for her to take that step and do it in the name of honor and in the name of duty. And she is able to go through with it, which is obviously got to be one of the hardest things to do, is, killing someone that you look up to or love, or that is your mentor that has guided you. And she's able to do that. So that gives her that sort of next step as well. So you have Kit and Jade both taking large steps in this series, in this episode. I think that's very important. And then we have Willow, of course, showcasing more powers, being the Obi-Wan of this series. And Warwick Davis, he's definitely different than the Willow we knew from 1988, but he should be, because the character's older now, and it would be strange if he acted as comedically or innocently as he did back then, when he wasn't really sure what he was. Now he is, but it doesn't come without humor. And Willow still does crack some one-liners and jokes, and maybe even borderline dad jokes and stuff. So it's all there in this series. There's a lot more to get into. We are going to continue to touch on it once in a while on TRB, and of course our next review of this will be chapter 4, episode 4 next week. But I'm enjoying Willow. We're 3 episodes in. I've seen a bit more of it, luckily enough, ahead of time, but I don't know how this is going to round out, but I am excited, and I'm very happy with what John Kasdan and the team has put together. It looks great. It feels great. It's a fantastical escape. I'm excited to see how this rounds out, and I hope more people are watching it and giving it a shot, even if you weren't the biggest Willow fan, because it's just a really fun, endearing, warm fantasy adventure, and I'm enjoying the ride so far. So that's my review of episode 3 of Willow. Let me know what you think in the comments, and also what you think of the Metallica stuff. I found it to be a little interesting. I could see how it maybe takes you out of it, but it's at the end. It's in the credits, just like when you watch a movie and the credits, sometimes some sort of modern pop hit comes up. not that big of a deal to me. But let me know again in the comments. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and you can follow me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey. And I also have a movie podcast in addition to the Resistance broadcast, which is twice a week, but a movie podcast called Just Like the Movies, where we just did an episode on Batman Returns. So you can check me out there too. But until next time, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. And thanks for letting me pretend I was actually listening to music when I wasn't. And as always, I'll see you around, kids.